Should we move on to gaming news?
Gaming news. Starting with this week's headline, the PlayStation Showcase.
The future of PS5.
The future of PS5, which feels like this year's been interesting on PlayStation because there's definitely been some stuff. Okay, like we've had Rift Apart, we've had Returnal, we've got Deathloop coming. But it feels like Sony last year launched the PlayStation 5 and said, here's 3 or 4 big games, and then that was it. We know obviously there's stuff coming, but we haven't had a look at, the new God of War, the new Gran Turismo, whatever. This PlayStation showcase, sort of laid out. Well, it didn't really lay out a roadmap because there are dates, but there are dates and there aren't dates for some things, but it's a very good indication of the future of PlayStation and what you can expect. And yeah, I think there were some definite surprises, which is very cool.
It's funny that the things that got dates were the things that are very far away.
Oh yeah,
and the things you'd expect to be close got no dates, which was I found strange.
I
thought it was a pretty good showcase. But yeah, let's run through it. Wow, I was not expecting this.
Who expected this? Is this a PlayStation exclusive?
So it is a console launch exclusive. So it will be PC and PS5 at launch, which to me is a fucking big deal.
That is a pretty damn big deal.
Especially since this has never been on a PlayStation console. Knights of the Republic and the second one originally came out on PC and the original Xbox. So for Sony to cop this, it's a big thing. It's
just like a weird, where did it come from sort of
It's on the level of a Rise of the Tomb Raider exclusivity deal.
So
as soon as I saw Aspire pop up there, I knew this was that because they've been rumored to be working on a remaster of this. I didn't realize it was a full-on remake, but yeah, as soon as you saw Revan's mask there, I fucking lost it because I was not expecting that to be the first thing at the show. Holy shit, yeah, I'm so down for this. The one thing I've seen some sentiment for on Twitter, which I kind of agree with, is they really need to, we don't know what extent that this remake is being made, but I hope they go the route of a sort of like Final Fantasy VII remake where they redefine how especially combat works, because this combat in this game is very old.
It's very old and very, it is very D&D or like tabletop sort of gaming.
MMO sort of style, it's like choose your moves and watch them play out. Yeah, I don't think a game. I think that's the primary thing they need to address is the combat, because I think the rest can kind of just stay as is. But yeah, I'm curious, man. Apparently a lot of the original team is working on this. BioWare is not working on it, but ex-KOTOR BioWare devs have joined Aspire to help out with this.
Nice.
And it's been in development for a long time. So what's interesting is that it's developed in part by Lucas Games. So does that mean KOTOR is now canon again?
Who knows? Who knows?
I'm keen. That looks good. There's no dates on that though.
No, but very, very exciting nonetheless. Project Eve. It's so funny. So I watched the showcase about an hour after I just flew through a wrap up. And John Michael was like, just have a look at this game. So I was like, okay. So the trailer starts and I was like, there's like a very, there we go. There's like a very panning on this character's bum. I was like, okay, I see where this
real
is
Bayonetta
going.
Vibes there. Yeah.
Very real Bayonetta. And I was like, how typical, it's targeting, teenage male audience. But let me tell you, the longer I watched this trailer, the more intrigued I was. I was like, this actually looks like a really pretty action game.
Yes, yeah. It looks like a real good character action game.
Yeah. It's not made by Platinum. It's made by another studio whose name evades me at the moment.
Yeah, it was literally just shown on the screen, but now I've forgotten.
It's gone.
But
it's gone.
Yeah, I think it's a new developer. Funnily enough, this game had been revealed already before, but I think this is the first time it was on like a biggish stage.
And
But yeah,
this-
it's got real Bayonetta vibes to
This
it.
got a lot of screen time as well. This is like a 5-minute long
Yeah,
trailer.
it's a
You know,
very
in
long
a
trailer.
showcase where trailers are 1 or 2 minutes long, it got a lot of screen time.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, the more I watched it, the more I was like, damn, this actually looks
it looks
really
good.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm keen on that because I mean, fuck knows when we're getting Bayonetta 3, even though it was announced like
God.
3 years ago.
Who knows?
So yeah, I'll take anything in between then because I was not the biggest fan of Devil May Cry 5, unfortunately. And this looks more in line with the sort of character action sensibilities I dig. So yeah. Looks the creature design looks crazy. There's a lot.
It is real Bayonetta though. A lot of the
Yeah,
stuff I'm like,
my
good
God.
lord.
So yeah, that looks cool. That is there's no date on that either. So yeah,
Nope.
that's just called Project Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got another look at Forspoken. Which has been shown off a couple of times now. It's from Luminous Productions and Square Enix, and it's described as an isekai game, which is, as far as I can tell, like a fairly normal person put into a very Final Fantasy-esque world where they kind of call out how fucking weird everything is.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a genre, but that's kind of cool.
Genre, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So just quickly, this was Project Athia for those who don't remember what it was.
Yeah, it's now Forspoken. I didn't realize the story is being written by Gary Whitta and Amy Hennig.
Yep.
So
no idea
Star Wars Rogue One and Uncharted fame, they are writing it. So that immediately raises my eyebrows. Like, that's cool. Like, I want more of that. Yeah.
So I'm very keen for that side of the game, and the game itself looks really cool. But I do wonder what the final product will be like because the footage shown, the movements, like I can appreciate what they're going for with the movements. This big open world with, very cool parkour, I guess, your abilities to traverse it. But there's something a bit rough about it still, which I'm thinking is, it's still in development, obviously. But I hope that as time goes by, they sort of polish that out because then, like, color me intrigued. But if you watch the footage, there's just, I don't know if I'm being nitpicky, but there's just something a little bit rough about it.
No, I do get what you mean. There's a I want to say unpolished because obviously the game's only coming out in spring 2022, so it's still there's a lot of time. And to me, the most interesting thing about this game is the breadth of movement. Like, it seems like you zip through this world so quickly. But yeah, there is a sort of roughness about it, like, especially the frame rate was bad watching this game. So, but man, there's a lot going on. Like, these powers visually look like crazy.
They're amazing.
It almost looks like an engine like demo, an Unreal Engine demo. So yeah, I'm curious to see more of that because I'm with you. I'm not entirely sold on it yet. But there's a lot of small things in there that I'm like, shit, this looks crazy. And 100%. I kind of want to know more. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's coming exclusively to PS5. Yeah.
2022. Spring is what, like March next year?
No. Spring is American spring. So it's like April, May.
Is it April? Okay, April, May.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't that far off.
How dare you?
Alan Wake Remastered. We knew this was coming, but it got an actual trailer.
Looks cool. I like Alan Wake. This is obviously not just coming to PlayStation. It will be on PS4, PS5, Xbox, PC.
But it is the first time it is on PlayStation, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
the original
that is correct.
Wasn't. Yeah.
It was an exclusive on Xbox. I, to this day, cannot believe that Microsoft hasn't tried or didn't at the time try to bring Remedy in-house. It seems like a real missed opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, they did 2 games with him, right? Alan Wake and Quantum Break. And I mean, Quantum Break is this weird question mark for me because I think it reviewed fine.
It wasn't great.
But I mean, Alan Wake,
I liked it,
Alan Wake was really good. Like, I think that reviewed well, people loved it, and they just
it's a cult classic now. It's like it's up there. When you think of Remedy, you think of Alan Wake and now Control, in my view.
Max Payne.
And then obviously Max Payne. Yeah.
Remaster Max Payne.
That would be fucking cool. I'd be down for that. But I enjoyed Alan Wake a lot, and this remaster's coming out on October 5th. GTA
Gran-
5. Have you heard of
it's-
it?
Yeah. Apparently, well, I'm curious because I heard that this trailer got a lot of flack. Yeah, look at this.
Well, it got delayed. So this remastered version was meant to come out November this year. And now it's only coming out in March. So that will be 9 years since the original release. Like, come on.
Yeah, but look at
You
this ratio: 21,000 likes, 67,000 dislikes.
Because it's just, I think, the
People
people
are
who are
mad.
playing GTA Online, they're playing GTA Online. It's,
Yeah.
it's there, whatever. Like, then,
Yeah.
I say this, but it's always on the top 10 sales, like, every fucking month on PlayStation. So clearly
Mhm.
it's still selling. It's
It's
just,
still selling. So
I just don't, I just couldn't care less for it right now. So, yeah.
Ghostwire
this game.
Tokyo.
This game looks fucking balls to the wall crazy. And
It looks crazy, but what I can't put my finger on this game because Ghostwire Tokyo meant to, when it was first shown, it's like, ooh, very scary looking game.
Yeah.
Spooky, yeah, very spooky.
Well, it's made by Tango
Um,
Gameworks, the Evil Within people, Shinji Mikami, the Resident Evil creator.
But when I see gameplay, I'm like, I'm very keen to play it, but it looks very action heavy.
Yeah, it doesn't look
So I'm
spooky
like,
at all.
Okay. Like, I'm sure there will be elements of horror to it, like, no doubt. But the footage I'm seeing, I'm like, damn, it feels like, for comparison's sake, like, just the perspective, it's like either Bioshock or Dishonored or even Deathloop, and the whole, it's a first-person action game with powers.
It sort of reminded me of Skyrim if you went to full mage build, because you just have, like, magic in both of your hands and it's first person. Like, I don't know what this game is, but I'm so keen to find out because it just looks ridiculous.
Coming out, no release date, but expected.
It was meant to come out this year, but it got delayed. And I was kind of shocked that there's no firm release date on it yet. I expect this to be out early next year.
Yeah.
It's been a while, so yeah. Uncharted's coming to PC and PS5.
Which is real. So it's the Legacy of Thieves collection, which is Uncharted 4, and the, I suppose, spin-off / standalone expansion, The Lost Legacy, with Chloe and Nadine in one wholesome package for PC. Let me tell you.
For a second, I thought it was all of them, like all 5
Me too.
games,
I thought, holy shit.
That's a big package.
5 games on PC. If you've not played Uncharted, like, it's easily one of my favorites action / exploration / narrative games. All I'll say is, if you have a fondness for Tomb Raider, like, for all intents and purposes, Uncharted is, well, Nathan Drake is a male Lara Croft. Like, it's the same style of game. You obviously,
or a young Indiana Jones.
Yeah, you globe trotting. There's promises of riches and tombs to explore. Very high action set pieces, and just the writing is great. Like, the banter and the dialogue. Would recommend if you've not, if you're not a PlayStation owner and you've always been interested in Uncharted.
Sharp and witty writing.
On PC, oh my god, it's going to look chef's kiss. A Naughty Dog game on PC. Like, these games running on PlayStation are actual sorcery. Like, really. So
I can't remember the last time Naughty Dog put out a game on PC.
Have they put a game on PC?
I'm sure back in the day, but this must be the first in decades.
Yeah.
But it's also coming to PS5. I'm curious to see what the upgrade path is there. Like, if I own them on PS4, do I? My assumption is no. My assumption is that this is a whole new product. So yeah, but I'm keen to see them on PS5 just for that extra smoothness. Should be good. Yeah.
So this was a surprise.
Yeah, this was quite a big surprise.
So
saw Insomniac, saw Marvel being like, okay, cool, we're getting a Spider-Man teaser. Nope.
Okay, so we haven't said yet, but Marvel's Wolverine is getting its own game made by Insomniac, who, as you've just said, made Spider-Man for the PlayStation. How busy is this studio that last year they've put out Miles Morales, okay? This year they put out Rift Apart. Then in the same showcase, like, hey, we're making a Wolverine game. Oh, also we'll get to later, but Spider-Man 2.
Dude. And they put a year on Spider-Man 2. They're like 2023.
But you know what? Like, to their credits, it's interesting because straight up they were like, it's far. Like, it's not even a 2022. Like, it's straight up. It could be end of 2023, which that's like enough time to, you know, maybe take the same. They've got the foundation in base because they've made 2 Spider-Man games now. But they really came out just saying like 2023. It's far away, but here it is. We are making it. Wolverine has no release date, which makes me wonder where in this this production cycle is it. I'm assuming after Spider-Man.
So yeah, that's the indication I got because the PlayStation blog that came out after the showcase spoke about both of these, and they mentioned that Wolverine is being led by the directors of Miles Morales,
yeah.
And that it is very early in production. So
Yeah.
what that said to me was like, this is after Spider-Man.
Oh my God, what is this quality? I'm guessing 2024. Like, earliest.
I think at the earliest. I mean, that's why this teaser was just like a pre-rendered thing. I think it was just like we are making this type of thing. What's interesting is that they did confirm that this Wolverine exists in the same universe as Insomniac's Spider-Man.
We're having a whole different Marvel universe, which is just crazy.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, if you're jonesing for a good Wolverine game, there's the old movie tie-in for Wolverine Origins. That game, fucking great. That movie, terrible. Game is good. Game is like God of War Wolverine. It's great. I enjoyed it. Go play that while you wait. Gran Turismo 7.
7. Vroom vroom.
I cannot believe this game's not out yet. Like,
I mean,
what is polyphony? Like, I get it. Games are hard, but wow, it has become an actual joke that polyphony just takes for fucking ever with its games. So.
I mean, when it comes out, it looks good. Like, it's super pretty.
Looks stunning.
Car games boggle my mind because I play Xbox have Forza, right? But these are fast paced, like 60 FPS games that just always look lifelike. There's just, I don't know, they get them right with, they spend a long time crafting all of those cars and cramming some polygons and whatnot into them that they look lifelike, but it still blows my mind how
these sort of detail. I mean that's probably why it takes forever. The detail they pack into this is just next level to me. But in the same vein, polyphony takes what feels like decades to put these out, whereas Turn 10 Studios for Microsoft.
Oh yeah, they pumping out Forzas.
Forza Motorsport 7 was a while ago, but like they put out a Horizon every other year almost. So, and I feel like even Forza Motorsport, which is the better comparison to Gran Turismo because they're both simulation, like it's taken Gran Turismo's crown for many years now. So I'm curious to see how Gran Turismo 7, the first big response to that, shapes out because I think Forza has really eaten the simulation racing's lunch for years now. So it just visually, I've never been into Gran Turismo because I just find the whole license and simulation vibe not my thing. But if you're into this, that looks fucking incredible.
I've got very fond memories of playing the first one and the second one on PlayStation 1. That they were like, they really were mind blowing, and I get you. It's frustrating, if you think of it now, like, oh, I've got to get licenses, I've got to sit and like really save money and build my way up and customize my cars. But there's something also satisfying about that progression of like you work your way through, earning your cars and driving to win money to buy the cars you want.
Yes.
So yeah,
but I do hope they're a bit less. Because in the past, I felt like they're very strict with that, whereas Forza is a real celebration of cars. It's like from the get-go, it's like, you want the fast cars? Fuck it, you get the fast cars. Exactly. So we'll see. I'm keen. I'm keen to just load that thing up and see it on the PlayStation. Marvel Spider-Man 2. I was kind of surprised that this got a teaser so quick.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, we all know it's coming, right? I mean, obviously they're going to make a Spider-Man 2, but I did not expect something so soon after Miles Morales. Like, look, I know they've put a date on it and it's far, but they could have banked this for next year. Like
Yeah.
2022, they say, hey, here's Spider-Man, it's coming next year. And no one would be none the wiser.
This is
but
part
you
of
know
my
what?
problem with this showcase, though, is that like all the things people say, all the things that are like, man, the showcase was incredible. We got Wolverine and Spider-Man 2, and all of that is so far away.
It's far away.
Like, it's the only thing that's like around the corner is God of War, like maybe. So, we're going to be hearing of Spider-Man for the next 2 years and Wolverine for maybe the next 3 or 4. And it's just so I don't know. But at the same time, I was just happy to see Miles and Peter working together here. Yeah.
And a good little Venom tease over here.
Listen, that voice before Venom was not Venom. That sounds
Craven,
like Craven.
100%.
Yeah. That sounds like Craven the Hunter.
What blows my mind is that so in my head, I have no basis for this assumption, but in my head, I see this franchise as like a trilogy.
Yeah.
And I expected the second game to be like, here's Peter and Miles working together with, another cast of iconic villains. But it feels like we've gone from 8 to like 4 million in terms of stakes. It's like, no, now there's Peter, there's Miles, there's Venom, and I'm like, oh my God.
It's a lot happening.
Yeah.
Well, they did tease Venom at the end of the first one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
30-second spoilers. You saw Harry Osborn in a vat being kept alive, and you saw the symbiote in there. So it was like, okay, Venom's coming.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm curious. Yeah, that design for Venom looks fucking incredible.
Very cool.
So
I do wonder if, in terms of story, if we have a similar thing of, maybe Peter gets taken over by the symbiote and then Miles has to fight him or something. Like they've got room to play.
I'm curious to see how they balance that, because they have said it's still a single player game. It's not a co-op game, but you will be playing as both. But I mean, both of us have played both of them now. They play very differently.
Yeah.
Especially Miles with his electric powers and Peter with more gadgets.
More stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm keen. Fun fact about that trailer, though. That trailer was completely rendered in-game on a PS4.
PS5. On a PS4?
On a PS5,
PS5,
sorry.
yeah.
And I saw a comparison on Twitter. Someone took the CG rendered trailer for, I think it was, I don't know if it was the original Spider-Man or Miles Morales, and compared it with this, and this one just looks like better.
It looks
real time.
Yeah.
So, crazy.
Good time.
Yeah. I'm keen to see Rift Apart was a hint of what a PS5 only exclusive can look like, and it blew me away. So early 2023, and I wouldn't be shocked if that ends up being
gets pushed out. Yeah. And then the other big one, God of War Ragnarok. Like we knew this was coming, but we finally have an actual trailer.
Again, just to give context to Spider-Man, when we got a tease for God of War, it was originally coming out in 2021, and it was announced like middle of 2020. So like, don't take these dates with like a huge grain of salt.
A barrel of salt. But God of War, very excited for this. The God of War reboot was it 2018? I can't believe it's 3 years ago
it's
already.
Crazy to think about that. This is easily, well, it was easily one of the best games I've ever played. Like the fact that it looked that good, ran on a PS4, and like just what a great reboot of an iconic PlayStation character. So sequel, and I'm not alone, like sequel very, very, very highly anticipated by many fans. So to see it finally, it's like, ooh. Very excited.
Yes, give me God of War.
This trailer got flack for... Okay, it got flack for many things.
For lots of things.
Yeah, I'm not going to give air to a lot of the dumb things. But the thing that struck me when I was watching it, I was like, this doesn't visually look that much better than the first one. And then I saw that sentiment like echoed on Twitter. But then I looked back and I looked at footage, and the first God of War reboot still looks fantastic. This one looks better. Like, in terms of detail and color, like, it definitely looks better. Like, I think because the game is so recent, you have this memory of what it looks like in your brain. But if you compare the two, there's definite changes between them. And this is still out on PS4. So, there is that limitation. But there's definitely an improvement. It's not looking. Some people are really reductive and they're like, "Oh, it looks like DLC." No.
I can't.
I'm just like, okay, whatever, man.
Yeah. Look, it's an interesting thing because like I'm very happy with Leviathan Axe and spoiler alert, the Chaos Blades. But it's just like, what other moves do we get? What new weapons do we get, if any?
I will
I'm
put
curious to
money
see.
on you wielding Mjolnir.
Yeah,
one point.
100%. I mean, maybe we assume that and they're like, nah.
Maybe, yeah.
No one gets to do that. But it's God of War. Like, this game is the combat in this game. It's
chef's kiss.
It's
real
so
good,
man.
I love how Atreus just got long. He's just like a long boy now.
He just grew his long cat now.
So when I first watched this trailer, I didn't know who Tyr was. So it turns out Tyr is the god of war in Norse mythology.
Yeah, but if you, so maybe it's worth reading up. I don't know, like a recap, because he features throughout, not features throughout, but he does pop up in the first God of War reboots.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, 100% he pops up. And yeah, he's here, and I don't know. I'm curious to see how they progress the story, because obviously this is a spin on Norse mythology. It's not, I mean, even Norse mythology, it's not fact.
Yes, of course.
It's mythology.
Yeah.
But it's like there's obviously a take on this, very much like, Marvel's got a take on Thor. So I do want to know, spoilers if you haven't played God of War. I think it's been long enough. But Atreus is actually revealed to be Loki, which makes me wonder, like, what happens. There's also, the people putting on tinfoil hats saying, Kratos is going to die at some point in these games. So,
well, they have already confirmed that this is the final one in the Norse.
In Norse, yeah.
But I mean, I found surprising, to be fairly honest. Yeah.
But I mean, even that, like, they linked this game to the Greek mythology very smartly. They're like, no, these worlds all persist together. So, like, I'm not worried about that. They close the chapter on this, but like, where do they take it? It's a mashing of all these different mythologies, which is cool. Like, I really, really think it's awesome. But
I would, if I was to put money on it, I would say, so firstly, this game is not being directed by Cory Barlog. I didn't know that Sony Santa Monica had a tradition of switching directors between games, because they find that it's very, firstly, taxing to direct a game, but then also just for creative freshness. So Cory Barlog is actually the first one in the studio's history to direct 2 entries in God of War. So he's apparently working on something. He's a producer on this game, but he's also working on an unannounced project at Sony Santa Monica, which I assume will just be like pre-production.
Yeah.
So if I had to put money on this coming back, is that they end this with the Norse stuff, and then we have a break of God of War for a while.
Yeah,
and Sony Santa Monica is going to have something else for the foreseeable future. Yeah.
But just on that, if you want to know how taxing game dev can be, I mean, God of War is the game it is because a lot of hard work went into it. Like, there were many hours put into it, many sacrifices. And like, I was very sad to learn, I think just this week, that Cory Barlog and his wife are actually separated. And like, one of the things I saw is that he works very hard. I'm like, yeah, he clearly he put a lot of work into leading that team. Just, some context on how hard game dev can be. Like, it's no joke.
And I mean, a lot of the story of the reboot for God of War, I know Cory said in interviews, a lot of the themes of like fatherhood and not being there stem from his own personal life and not being the father he wanted to be for his child. Like, he's spoken about this quite openly. So yeah, I mean, I do not begrudge the dude from taking a step back at all.
Sorry. So the reason I got into that, like, tradition aside, like, I'm not shocked that
I think it's a ton of
that he stepped down from being a director. But he's going to direct another game.
He's going to direct something else. Yeah. But I do think, I think that thing is like a pretty healthy habit. I mean, you compare that to Neil Druckmann, who did Uncharted like 3, then 4, then oh no,
Last of
sorry,
Us.
he did The Last of Us, then Uncharted 4, and then Last of Us 2, like back to back to back. Like that sounds horrible. I'm sorry. That just sounds and I mean,
hardcore.
he was doing them with Bruce Straley, and Bruce Straley then ended up leaving the company. He's just like, I can't do this anymore. Like, yeah. So yeah, that was the PlayStation
Showcase. Real exciting
Really
future for PlayStation, but cannot tell you when half those games are coming out.
Yeah, I mean,
they're coming out at some stage, but who knows when. But yeah, let's fly through other news because we are long in the tooth here. Remember that Fortnite, well, that Epic and Apple lawsuit?
That kind of resolved itself finally.
They both lost.
Yeah,
it seems.
Essentially, they both lost. I mean, you'll see a lot of headlines saying that Epic won, which in a way is sort of true. But put it this way, Epic had 10 counts that they brought forward to the court. They only won one of them. Apple won 9. So definitely a landslide for Apple. The court says that Epic failed to prove that Apple is monopolistic, which is, I think, the big one. You know, it was sort of like a Hail Mary, but I think it's the one Epic wanted to get. And Epic will need to pay a few $1 million to Apple for breaking their contract last year, which is really like chump change for Epic at this point.
They just sneeze like a minute worth of Fortnite money.
It really is. It's like they need to pay like $12 million. It's like, okay. Yeah. The big thing that Epic did win, and which could change the landscape for apps in general, is a permanent injunction that the judge threw down, and it reads, here I'm reading on Eurogamer, Apple is permanently restrained and enjoined from prohibiting developers from including in their apps and their metadata button external links or other calls to action that direct customers to purchasing mechanisms, in addition to in-app purchasing and communicating with customers through points of contact obtained voluntarily from customers through account registration within the app. So what that really means, and what we are trying to see now, what it does mean in terms of actual like consumer-facing options, is developers no longer have to use the App Store to do in-app purchases. So in the past, you could do like Steam. You could purchase games on Steam, but because those games didn't run on Apple device, it was fine. Whereas something like xCloud, because you were playing that game on an iPhone, they prohibited Microsoft from allowing people to purchase games on the app without paying the 30% royalty fee to Apple. And Microsoft was like, no.
That shit.
Now they're barred from doing that. So the court has basically said, to my understanding, that apps can link out to external purchasing options from the app themselves. So it's different to a sort of Netflix where you could subscribe to Netflix through the App Store and Apple gets their cut, or you can subscribe to Netflix on a web browser outside of it and still use Netflix on your phone. Now, there will be an option within the Netflix app to say, I want to purchase outside of Apple's ecosystem, which is a big thing when you consider their royalty fees on the App Store are a $20 billion revenue for Apple year on year. It is 75% of their business. So unsurprisingly, Apple is appealing this. More surprisingly, Epic is appealing the ruling because they want more of their things. So basically, no one won, but consumers seem to have won because this might change everything for apps. So, and the ruling's only going to be enforced in December, so that's when we'll see how this actually changes. So I'm curious to see what Apple changes because I don't imagine they're very happy about this. And they will come and say that all they're trying to do is protect their consumers. And yes, that's true in a way. But as the judge ruled, they are doing so without giving consumers the choice. They have to give consumers the choice. And right now, Apple doesn't allow that choice. They just force you into one. So so we'll see.
Cool stuff, man. Last pieces of news. So interestingly, Arcane working on a game called Redfall.
Vampire Dishonored.
Which Arcane is the Deathloop people, right? They're working on another game, and they've had some images leak of their next game, Redfall. I think where did I see there was some indication of what kind of game it might be, but I mean it's early days. Like we don't actually know.
Yeah, I'm looking at the images now. It I mean it's like a 4-player.
It's like a
dark-
looter shooter.
Yeah,
seems.
looter shooter.
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of loot, lots of colored loot and whatever. Wow, these images are like gray sandbox levels as well. That's crazy. How did these get out there?
Who knows? But yeah,
Interesting. It looks like a very different game for Arcane, to be fairly honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still keen on this. This is coming out summer next year, because it's Arcane Austin,
It's
so
another
the American one. Yeah, and this will be the first one that is only on Xbox Game Pass, stuff like that. So yeah.
And then last piece of news: Tripwire CEO is out after tweeting support for a Texas abortion ban. So he tweeted out basically, I don't know if the tweet is in the story, but he essentially, I mean, if you don't know, Texas has had a real week with abortion laws, and he came out in support of it, which within, I guess, in 24 hours backfired, and yeah, he's gone from Tripwire. I don't remember what he actually said, but it's essentially just like, as someone who's in this industry, I'm going to make a stand. Good on Texas for this law.
It was something to that effect. Yeah,
which got a huge amount of backlash. Well, Tripwire specifically came out with a statement saying we in no way support what was said. And he's since no longer the CEO. So
yeah. You had a studio, because they do obviously some development duty and publishing. So they were the developer of Maneater and Killing Floor, but they also publish games like Chivalry 2.
Yeah.
So Torn Banner Studios, the developers of Chivalry 2, said, "We do not share the opinion expressed in a recent tweet. Okay. Yeah, this perspective is not shared by a team, nor is it reflected in the games we make. The statement stands in opposition of what we believe about women's rights." There was another studio that said that after the tweet that they were working to cancel all of their contracts with Tripwire.
Sure.
I can't remember which one it is. It's not mentioned in the story here.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was basically a day later, Tripwire said that his comments don't reflect that of the company and that he is stepping down effective immediately. Listen, people are going to scream cancel culture at this thing. There's nothing stopping John Gibson, the former CEO of Tripwire, from having that opinion. And there is nothing preventing people from not wanting to work with someone with those opinions. That is effectively how I see this and how the world works. And at the end of the day, this is a law that violates earlier rulings that were made in the Roe versus Wade case in America. And the U.S. justice system is suing Texas because of this. So this is not he has a different opinion. This is a hotly contested gross violation of women's rights.
Yeah.
And to be in support of that is frankly just unacceptable.
It's it's quite something.
And if people do not want to work with someone like that, they are fully entitled to not be that, especially as a private company that does not need to take into account all of their shareholder opinions. So, yeah. Goodbye.
So
good riddance.
We'll leave gaming news on that note.
Yeah.
He's out.
Yeah, he's out. Peace out. It's really shitty because very recently we spoke about how much fun we had with Maneater, you especially. And it's just fuck, man.
It just puts a dampener. It's oh.
It does. and it's annoying as well because he's just one person in a studio of people that maybe there's other people at studio that have the same opinion. But maybe there's lots of women at that studio that go, "What the fuck, dude?"
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I was listening to, it was the Giant Bombs podcast. They were talking about this, and they mentioned that someone brought up that it's quite an ironic view to have, considering like at the beginning of Maneater, the first thing that happens is a big mother shark is forcibly brought aboard a ship and like had a baby shark cut out of her, and it's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is going on here? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Think about that.
Some real shit going on there. Some real
Put that in your
meta
pipe and
messaging
smoke
going on
it.
there. Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Anyway.
gaming news for this week.